Foto kita ini menghalangi banget. Okay. Today we are going to talk about the origin of curriculum development. Well, dates back to the ancient civilizations. It is very old, right? The formal education systems began to emerge back to ancient civilizations we studied at that time. Okay, ini di kelas ya? Ini kelas, Ibu Bapak? Okay, alright.
Iya, Prof.
Yeah.
Beberapa.
Okay. Early societies, such as those in Mesopotamia, and then Egypt, and Greece, devised structured educational programs to impart essential knowledge and skills to the younger generations. These early curricula focused on practical subjects like agriculture, mathematics, and philosophy at that time, reflecting the needs and values of their respective cultures. Over time, as societies evolved and advanced, so too did curriculum development, incorporating new subjects, pedagogical approaches, and educational philosophies. Today, the evolution of curriculum development continues, driven by ongoing societal changes and technological advancements, right? Can you imagine if we still use the old curriculum, right? And also the ever expanding scope of knowledge. It will change the curriculum. Ini suka ada. Okay. So our agenda today, this is the review of the last week material. What is curriculum? Just to remind you. And also in the principles of language teaching, if we would like to invite the students' attention, try to refer to the last material. And then what are curriculum components? We talked about that last week, right? And the field of curriculum development, just to remind you about the last week. So we will explore the fundamentals of curriculum development, including definition of curriculum. Yeah. There are some definitions here. Curriculum as defined by Miller and Seller in 1985. Sudah lahir belum? 1985?
Sudah,
Okay.
Prof. Belum, Prof.
Tuh kan, ada yang belum coba. Oke.
Saya sudah, Prof.
Sudah ya, oke. Alright, saya sudah balik dari Amerika tahun 85 teh. Okay. Well, again, curriculum as defined by Miller and Seller in 1985 encompasses two perspectives. Firstly, as merely a course of study. So, a long time ago, a course of study is curriculum. And secondly, as an interactive process between students and teachers aimed at achieving educational objectives. So in education, the objectives is very, very important. Additionally, Noonan's definition from 2003 broader. He broadens the scope by incorporating all schools-related activities. All schools-related activities is also called curriculum. So at first, it's just merely a course of study, and then expanded to the all activities related to that happen in schools. This includes not only what students learn and how they learn it, but also the role of teachers in facilitating learning. The materials, last week we have talked about this, right? Materials and method used. Also styles of assessment, and even the physical facilities involved. So, Noonan's definition highlights the holistic nature of curriculum, emphasizing its multidimensional aspects beyond the mere content of instruction. So, Noonan actually broadens this, starting from only a course of subject matter until now it's I think now we use that. Okay, together this definition underscore the complexity and richness of curriculum, illustrating its dynamic role of in shaping educational experiences and outcomes within the school environment. Outcomes will be evaluated by evaluation, right? So, the components of curriculum, number one is the objectives, right? Or the goals or aims. And then it will determine the learning experience and content. If we talk about the models of curriculum development that last week we talked about, and then procedures or method that we use to deliver the subject, and then evaluation. Evaluation, based on the cyclical model, it will become the feedback to revise the objective, maybe to revise the content, maybe to revise the method. So it is okay. It is very broad now. Now, language curriculum development as outlined by Richard in 2002 encompasses a comprehensive framework addressing various crucial aspects. This includes establishing procedures to ascertain the curriculum content. Again, content, right? It is very important. Identifying and addressing learners' need. This is very important. And determining contextual factors. Where are we teaching, right? Because, and determining contextual factors influencing language learning. The context will influence language teaching and learning. Is that right? Well, additionally, syllabus planning involves considering multiple factors to ensure effectiveness. Providing quality teaching within a program is emphasized alongside consideration regarding material selection, adaptation, and design. This is very important. Moreover, evaluating the effectiveness of a language program is paramount, requiring rigorous assessment method. This multifaceted approach underscores the complexity of language curriculum development, highlighting the need for thorough planning. Planning is very important. Consideration of diverse factors and ongoing assessment to ensure optimal learning outcomes within language education context. Now let's try to take a look at the history of curriculum development. The historical background curriculum development traces back to the notion of syllabus design, a fundamental aspect within educational planning. Initially, syllabus design entailed the specification of course content and learning objectives, outlining what would be taught and assessed. However, as educational theories evolved, curriculum development emerged as a more comprehensive process, encompassing various elements beyond syllabus design. So it's broader. So when we talk about what's the difference between syllabus and curriculum, syllabus is part of curriculum. So curriculum is broader than merely a syllabus design. This include consideration of instructional strategies, assessment, and then assessment method, how we assess it, and then learners' need, and broader educational goals. Over time, curriculum development has become a dynamic and multi-dimensional field, reflecting shift in pedagogical paradigms and educational philosophy. Curriculum development encompasses several essential processes. First, identifying the needs of the learner group. That's why we are going to have one topic about how to do need analysis, because need analysis is very important in developing curriculum. Second, formulating program aims. Program aims. In our RPS, ya Bu Lulu, we have what's so-called PILO, program expected learning outcome, right?
Yes.
Or objectives to meet those needs. And the third, devising a suitable syllabus, course structure, teaching method, and materials. And finally, conducting thorough evaluation. The evaluation, so we try to do evaluation thoroughly. That's why even in our institution, yeah, Ibu Lulu knows a lot about that. We always try to revise, right? Based on the condition. Okay? These stages ensure a comprehensive approach to educational planning, tailored to address learner requirements effectively. From needs assessment to program implementation and assessment, curriculum development guides the creation of meaningful and impactful learning experience, fostering continuous improvement in educational outcomes. The keyword, fostering continuous improvement. So it is dynamic. It cannot be static. Tinggal nanti gimana cara mengerjakannya, begitu ya. Sometimes bikin liar kita semua ya. Apalagi yang ditugasi untuk menjadi ini petugas curriculum workers. Okay. Curriculum development in language teaching traces its roots to the 1960s. Jadi sepertinya masih baru ya. Although the concept of syllabus design emerged much earlier, in the first part of the 20th century, maybe 1900-an, 1901 atau 10, that's syllabus design has emerged already. Throughout the past century, various approaches to language teaching have served as the foundation for curriculum development. From grammar translation method, we call it GTM, in the 19th century, itu lebih awal lagi GTM itu ya, tahun 1800 sekian itu, GTM itu sudah ada. And in the 19th century, that's two communicative approach. GTM sampai ke communicative approach. GTM, direct method, structural method, audiolingual method, situation method, and communicative approach. That's the foundation of curriculum development. Those persist to the present day until now, right? These methods have shaped the evolution of language education. In Indonesia, the English curriculum has undergone several revisions. Ganti menteri, ganti kurikulum. Tidak begitu. Kurikulum itu berubah because of the needs of the society, political situation, and so on and so forth. Yeah. Okay. Notably adopting communicative language teaching principles in 1984, when I came back from America at the time in 1982, and then rame-rame in Indonesia, communicative approach, berubah dari audiolingual method ke communicative approach begitu in Indonesia. Datang-datang itu Pak Fuad langsung ditangkap untuk ikut dalam mengembangkan kurikulum based on communicative approach di mana-mana ya. Alright, communicative language teaching or CLT. CLT principles in 1984 and in 1994 change again with thematic based, but still itu juga 1984 communicative approach. But why we call it thematic approach? Because they provide the teaching materials based on the theme. Seperti sekarang juga kan 2013 gender-based approach, emancipated curriculum still gender-based approach, sama tetapi kegiatannya ada yang berbeda. Boleh pakai project-based learning, boleh pakai task-based, boleh pakai something like that. Yeah, the same thing. A long time ago, 1984 communicative approach, and in 1984 thematic-based, theme yang menentukan. Misalnya itu the material at the school, at the station, or on the bus station, itu tema-tema itu dikembangkannya. Materialnya itu. And then 2004, that's beginning of the kurikulum berbasis sekolah. Ya, waktu itu kurikulum berbasis sekolah. And then through time it changed to 2013 curriculum with 2004 itu sudah mulai juga genre based itu. Sudah mulai dengan genre based. Kemudian di tahun 2013 there are some revision in some parts because in some parts of Indonesia teachers do not understand how to apply it. Mereka mengajarkan teori linguistik kepada anak SMA. Sehingga di situ gagal lagi katanya kurikulum 2013 itu. Bukan gagal. Implementasinya tidak seperti sekarang. Guru sudah ini ya. Sudah membaju sekali dengan itu, dengan kurikulum ini 2000 dengan genre based itu. These changes reflect a shift towards a more emancipated curriculum, emphasizing learner-centeredness and communicative competence, aligning with global trends in language pedagogy. So when we ask, what is the foundation of emancipated curriculum? Itu mix ya. Antara ingin learner-centeredness, antara ingin meningkatkan thoughts, higher order thinking ability of the students, meningkatkan they have to communicate in English. Tapi menurut saya sekarang itu kondisi pengajaran bahasa Inggris di Indonesia itu become a lot better than in my generation. Our English curriculum in the Department of English, Ibu Lulu kalau tahu, there is no speaking class at all in my generation. Tidak ada. Yang ada adalah phonology, dictation. Kita belajar di lab. Di lab itu dikasih kaset, udah gurunya cetrek leos. Dosennya itu. What did I do at the time? We have to listen and repeat. The pick, sit, seed, shit, sheet. Maaf. Seperti itu, without knowing the meaning of the words, right? Apa yang terjadi? Saya bawa ini kaset, mendengarkan, sudah panas kan begitu, ganti kasetnya dengan lagu. Enak. Taunya dosennya datang dari controller itu, kan saya tidak tahu kalau juga di ini. Nenden, lagi apa, pakai bahasa Indonesia, tidak pakai bahasa Inggris. Dengerin lagu, enak ya lagunya, katanya gitu. Pada nyindir. Bosan sekali gitu ya, Bu Lulu. So our curriculum now is a lot better. What did I do with the English teaching methodology at the time? Gak bisa apa-apa. Gak tahu cara mengajar. Gurunya gaya Mr. Russell dari Inggris. What did he do? Just lecturing about teaching methodology in English. No Indonesian. Kita semua ngantuk. Baru berubah, maaf kalau waktu itu saya sudah jadi dokter. Waktu in the process itu when I was taking my S3 program back in 1993 ya, kayaknya gitu ya. Oh no. Biarlah, sudah lupa. Okay. And then when I came back to the Department of English, I said to the Kaprodi, Pak, saya mau mengajar metodologi ya. Dulu kan saya ngajar, udah berubah, ada speaking segala setelah tahun 80-an dulu. Waktu saya tahun 72, no English speaking at all. Apa yang terjadi? I couldn't speak a word. I couldn't understand a word when I came to America. Diomongin itu ngantri di phone, pay phone di California, di Los Angeles. Saya mau terbang ke Chicago, saya mau telepon suami pakai payphone yang 50%. Ini sudah ngantri. Ternyata mereka bilang long distance tidak bisa pakai payphone begitu. Nggak ngerti. Ini sampai antri. Coba blow on-nya si itu yang datang ke Amerika. Gitu. Ya. Because we didn't have any speaking subject in our curriculum. Go back to the methodology. When I was taking S3, my friends from ITB, if I'm not mistaken, she said, Bu, kenapa sih di kita tuh yang diajar itu cuma bagaimana cara mengajar, adakah ini strategi bagaimana cara siswa belajar? Itu kan penting ya Bu ya. Baru terbersit di hati saya, langsung saya menulis disertasi tentang learning strategies. Saya coba teliti mahasiswa Australia bagaimana belajar bahasa Indonesia. Dibandingkan dengan bagaimana mahasiswa Indonesia di Indonesia bagaimana belajar bahasa Inggris. Saya pergi ke Australia untuk melihat bagaimana. Okay. From that time, I'm aware that methodology is very, very important. Yeah. Okay. Well, curriculum development based on the foundation of grammar translation method at first. Yeah. Okay, and then communicative language teaching. Okay, that method, right? The foundation of curriculum development also not only based on the method, but also we take a look at the syllabus design. Grammar and vocabulary selection are two important factors that must be carefully considered when creating a curriculum for language instruction. Why vocabulary? Vocabulary being the most conspicuous element of language. Is that right? Vocabulary holds paramount importance in syllabus construction. What will happen if we don't have any vocabulary? Could we talk? No, right? So the selection of vocabulary entails identifying words and phrases essential for effective communication within various contexts and proficiency levels. Remember, we need to remember about the proficiency levels: beginners, intermediate, advanced. Equally significant is grammar selection. So we have to select grammar also. So when we are developing curriculum for high school, what vocabulary should be presented for students? And then what grammar? Mana dulu sih? Ujug-ujug ke past tense, ujug-ujug ke future tense, ujug-ujug ke conditional? No, right? So we have to try to make a gradation. Okay. By strategically incorporating grammar items that correspond to the selected vocabulary, educators can ensure coherence and relevance in language instruction. And moreover, grammar selection facilitates the integration of vocabulary into grammatically sound and contextually appropriate sentences, enhancing learners' ability to comprehend and produce language accurately. So together, these foundation principles underpin syllabus design in language teaching. So vocabulary selection and grammar selection. How we do it? Let's talk about it. Now, vocabulary selection in language teaching is crucial, as I told you, due to disparities between the number of words in learners' native language. Of course, we have broader words, right? Compared to the foreign language or the target language that we are learning, well, L1 consists of about 17,000 words. So this selection depends on word frequency. Mana sih yang lebih banyak digunakan? Mana yang lebih digunakan oleh oleh siswa usia dini, for example. It would be different with what should be covered in high school or in junior high school. With L1 typically containing more words, around 17,000 than L2. L2 or foreign language ranging from 500 to 5,000. It means that if we have 500 words, we could communicate. Makanya kan ada 4.500 kata vocabulary itu ya. Makanya, oh ini yang harus dikuasai itu sekian. That would be enough, okay? Given its prominence, vocabulary is often prioritized as the initial focus of language teaching program. Guru kan suka mengatakan bahwa Ini yang lemah itu vocabulary. Yes, it could be improved. Vocabulary and grammar. What will happen if only vocabulary without grammar? Itu asal asbun namanya nantinya. Bahasa Tarsan. So the choice of words to teach depends on the goals of the course and the amount of time that is available. This ensures that students learn vocabulary that is appropriate for their communication needs in the allotted period. Because of that, the curriculum developer in high school, they try to take a look at what words should be covered in this level. Kalau sekarang in fase ini apa ya Bu ya? Bu dulu ya, fase ini apa, fase ini apa? The coverage. Okay, so let's talk about the criteria in vocabulary selection. When selecting vocabulary, there are three criteria: word frequency, and then teachability and similarity. Those three play vitally important roles. Word frequency determines the prevalence of words in a language, guiding educators to prioritize high-frequency words for efficient language acquisition. And also teachability. Teachability assesses the ease with which learners can grasp and retain a word, considering factors such as complexity and relevance to learners' experience. So it's relevant to learners' experience, learners' level of proficiency, and also learners' age. Well, similarity examines the resemblance between words in learners' native and target languages. This will help students to cope with the vocabulary easier. What's the criteria? And then, how could we select vocabulary? There are three: availability, coverage, and defining power. In vocabulary selection, availability criteria consider the accessibility and prevalence of words in particular context of target audience. Who will be the target audience? Here, the target audience are students, right? For example, when developing educational materials for young learners, common everyday words. The common words, everyday words, are prioritized due to their widespread use and relevance to children's experience. Should be close to children, needs, children's experience, and children interest. Similarly, in specialized fields like medicine or engineering, terminology selection revolves around terms commonly used and understood within those professions, so that students will learn using top-down strategies. What is meant by top-down strategies? For example, when we teach based on the profession of the students, you are an English education program, right? We have to try to provide vocabulary related to education. When we teach for SMK, for example, what SMK? jurusan pariwisata, we provide the terms or the vocabulary related to pariwisata, something like that. So that by knowing, because mereka sudah kenal kan dengan vocabulary in bahasa Indonesia. So when they read, they will use top-down strategies. They have got here in their mind, and then they use English. So they learn English using the knowledge that they have. That's what's so-called by top-down strategies. Okay? Now, availability criteria also involve considering regional and cultural variation in language usage to ensure inclusivity and relevance. Jadi kalau kita di daerah tertentu, that's also the regional needs. We have to think about it. What vocabulary would be needed by the students? So overall, selecting words based on availability ensure effective communication by using terms readily understood and widely used within the intended audience or context. How about coverage now? In vocabulary selection, coverage criteria encompass semantic reference to ensure comprehensive understanding within a lexical field. For instance, when choosing words related to seating furniture, such as seat. Seat is a little bit general, right? Seat, it's tempat duduk. Stool, tempat duduk. Chair, tempat duduk. Bench, tempat duduk. Okay? But, is there any seat vacant? Di situ ada stool, ada chair, ada bench, right? Those are seats, right? But, the stool, something that, doesn't have any, thing that's for you to lean or something like that. Backless seat, yeah? Well, so, how about defining power? Sometimes the words will explain the other words. In vocabulary selection, that's why defining power criteria focus on words' ability to clarify and define other terms within the lexical domain. For instance, the word container. Di dalam buku itu, container. Container possesses defining power as it can elucidate related concepts such as bucket. What is bucket? Bucket is a container for carrying water, for example. What is a jar? A jar is a container that we could place the cookies inside, or what's that? Strawberry jam in a jar, in a small jar. And what is carton is something like that. So a container serves as a broad category encompassing various objects designing to hold and transport items. Okay, now let's come to, this is another foundation of curriculum, grammar selection. The selection of grammar items is very crucial also in language teaching, as it directly impacts learners' understanding and proficiency. Different teaching methods prioritize specific grammar structure. For example, direct method. We need to teach students progressive, right? Why? To facilitate immersive language learning. should we use direct method first? Maybe. We can ask the student, what am I doing? You are teaching. What are you doing? I'm sitting or something like that. Itu agak sedikit agak mudah begitu ya. Ketimbang what did you do yesterday umpamanya. Begitu. So we select grammar. Additionally, selection aligns closely with the issue of gradation, ensuring a systematic progression in instruction. For instance, when teaching expressions for asking permission, it is essential to select and present the student in a graded manner to avoid overwhelming learners. Ya, jangan tiba-tiba kita mengajarkan conditional. Bingung siswa. Nah, itu. Ya. Well, we wouldn't teach the whole bunch of preposition at one time. Underneath, for example, to children, maybe under, maybe in, on, at, something like that. So select the preposition in accordance with the degree of importance. Jadi kalau di itu, who is behind you? Paling begitu kan? Who sit beside you? Something like that. Belum ke yang begitu ini complicated. Yeah. When selecting grammar items for introductory levels, prioritizing simplicity. Number one is simplicity and centrality, because those will make the teaching and learning process easier for the students. For introductory level, choose the structures that are simple. Subject verb dulu gitu, baru nanti ditambah subject verb complement. Ini juga bingung untuk ini mahasiswa kita. I'm hot. Saya adalah panas, kan begitu? Karena ada subject verb complement. Padahal kan subject verb complement itu sudah mulai bingung. So basic structure like subject verb complement, and then subject verb object. Nah, ini ada direct object, indirect object. Nah, itu jadi harus ada gradasi. Yang mana dulu? Yang simple dulu. Nanti sudah ada ke subject verb adverb. Subject verb object adverb. Subject verb object adverb. Misalnya contohnya gimana tuh? Subject, verb, object, adverb, kalimat. Tolong diberi kalimat Ibu Minerva kepada saya. Subject, verb, object, adverb.
Like I eat a banana at classroom.
Okay. All right. I ate a banana in the classroom. In the classroom di sini apa?
Adverb of place.
Adverb of place. Masih bisa ditambah? In the classroom yesterday. Itu sudah ini. Jadi banyak sekali kan adverb of time, adverb of place, adverb of manner, dan lain sebagainya. Begitu ya. Nah itu gradasinya harus dimulai dengan subject verb dulu. Nanti subject verb complement. Kira-kira subject verb complement, tolong beri contoh Ibu Tuti. Kalimatnya.
Okay. She is a teacher.
She's a teacher. How could Indonesian student translate it? Dia adalah guru. Padahal tidak perlu pakai adalah. Dia guru. Nah itu ada so the complexity between the L1 and the target language also there's some intricacy for the teacher how to teach the students so that you will avoid those kind of things. Yeah. Okay, and then frequency of occurrence. So when we select grammar, the curriculum worker together with the teachers, yang mana sih yang sering muncul, ya? Pola grammar yang mana yang sering muncul? Mereka lihat di textbook, lihat what kind of material and then what kind of grammar will we need for this level. Itu textbook analysis, frequency occurrence, and then also learnability. Learnability is also very important, yeah, because if it is not learnable, it would be hard for the students to understand what we are teaching. Jadi banyak sekali ya yang harus difikirkan di dalam curriculum development itu. Grammar selection, vocabulary selection. Let's take a look at this little by little. So development of grammatical items, we teach noun. And then we have to think about verbs. We have to think about adjectives. Do you think in Bahasa Indonesia those are very important? Of course, right? And then verb be, ini sedikit agak membingungkan. Dulu waktu pertama kali saya belajar di semester 1. Sampai kalau saya bilang bahasa Inggris itu the condition of English in Indonesia is a lot better. When I was going to, I was tested at UPI, at IKIP at the time in 1972. And we were tested orally. Terus teman saya bilang, tadi apa sih yang ditanya? Ya, cuma ditanya what's your name and then how do you spell it. Sampai saya tidak tahu apa tuh how do you spell it. Itu baru keluar dari SMA itu. Betapa jeleknya. Ya, kebetulan ada itu yang bisa gitu, tapi yang sudah kakak kelas. Kakak kelas yang sudah lama banget begitu. How do you spell it? Apa sih tadi jawabnya spell itu? Nggak tahu, kata yang tadi di tes itu. Spell itu katanya, what's your name? Nama saya Susi katanya. How do you spell it? S, katanya U, S, Y. Saya dengerin aja begitu ya. Orang lain itu. Tadi tanya apa? Dengerin, tadi tanya apa? Begitu saya dites, lantang. Karena tadi saya sudah dengar orang lain gitu. What's your name? Nenden. How do you spell it? N-E-N-D-E-N. Long name? Sri Langkanawati. How do you spell it? S-R-I-L. Something begitu. Hanya dengarkan saja begitu. Okay. All right. Possessive pronouns. This is also very confusing sometimes for the students. Yeah. Personal pronouns ini terbalik-balik. Possessive pronouns, adverbs of time, requests, ya, simple present, banyak sekali. Futures, udah futures, kemudian WH question, and then WH question ada, okay, present continuous, directions. Maka dari itu waktu saya menjadi guru di sini, menjadi dosen di UPI, saya mengajar bahasa Inggris, mengajar speaking dengan role play, direction, how to get to the station, pakai Dena, pakai segala. Karena saya tuh kesel dulu saya tidak bisa ngomong. Di kelas saya ajarkan role play. Di akhir perkuliahan speaking ada drama. Drama saya bawa ke studio, ya, mereka berdrama. Wah, senang saya mereka pakai bahasa Inggris. Karena saya kesal dulu tidak belajar speaking. Okay. And then comparative and speech preposition and first conditional. Itu bingung. If I were you, something like that, ya. Itu bisa bingung tuh. Okay. Right. And then approaches to grammar items also are essential in language teaching to ensure effective comprehension and mastery among learners. One such approach here, linguistics distance. What is meant by linguistic distance? The similarity of the native language with the L1 should be taught first. Now it's not very hard, right? Because there are so many loan words in Bahasa Indonesia. Even now, download become download gitu ya. Itu kan jadi similar ya, begitu. Not very hard now because there are so many loan words from English loan words in Bahasa Indonesia, so it's not very hard. Okay, but still, when we develop curriculum, we have to think about the similarities between the target language and the first language. Another approach focuses on intrinsic difficulty, advocating for the teaching of simple structures before the complex ones. Yeah. For instance, in English, the present simple tense is typically taught before the present perfect tense due to its simpler construction. In Bahasa Indonesia, the same as in Bahasa English, right? Subject, verb, gitu. Okay? So, but teach the simple one first. And also remember, we have to think about communicative needs because communicative needs is crucial despite of difficulty of certain grammar structure. Still, we have to try to think about the communicative needs. Okay? Well, thank you.